Welcome Imagines to the next video of our trip to Iceland. It's going to be an amazing legend of MJÖLNIR, the strongest and most powerful weapon of the whole of Asgard, of our favorite thunder god, Thor, and his brother, the deceit god, Loki. We are going to learn today how did Thor get his powerful and almighty hammer MJÖLNIR. And the legend goes a little bit like this. Once upon a time, a long time ago, Loki was really bored one night because Thor kept pushing him around and he was tired of it. So Loki decided to play a prank on Thor and Thor's wife, Sif. One night, Loki climbed up to Sif's chamber, and while she was asleep, he cut off her hair. Beautiful, long, blonde, golden hair. He cut it with scissors. He thought it was funny, but definitely this was a bad idea because when Sif woke up and when she told Thor about it, they were really pissed, really mad, really angry, and they definitely wanted some revenge. So Thor came down to Loki and threatened his life. If he didn't solve this problem, he would be in trouble. So Loki got a little bit nervous and a little bit scared and decided to solve the problem. But who could help him when he had caught Sif's hair? So he decided to go down to where the dwarves live. If you didn't know, dwarves are the best handcrafters of all time, of the whole world. They are the best smiths as well. So Loki thought, the only persons that can help me get Sif's hair back are the dwarves. But then he thought, how can I get the dwarves to help me if I can't pay them with anything? And he thought of a really clever plan. He decided he was going to trick the dwarves into a competition between two very important families of dwarves. And he came to the Ivaldi brothers. He came to the Ivaldi brothers and he told them, hey, I just listened that Brock and Eitri, the other family, are saying that they are the best handcrafters in the whole world and that your work is not that good. So these brothers got a little bit confused. They didn't know if they should believe Loki, but in the end they believed him and they asked him what the competition was. So Loki told them that this competition was really simple. They only needed to create 3 gifts for the gods. The only condition was that one of these gifts had to be Sif's hair, this golden beautiful hair that had to be recovered. One of those 3 gifts had to be her hair. The other 2 were open to their imagination. And then once they accepted, Loki decided to go to the other house where Brock and Eitri lived and told them the same story. He told them, hey, you know what? The Ivaldi brothers are saying that they are better than you at handcrafting. What's going to happen? Are you going to let this happen? And then Brock and Eitri thought about it. They didn't think it was true either, but they decided to counter-offer this proposal. They told Loki, okay, we are going to take part on this plan and competition that you have, but in exchange, if we win this competition, we want your head, because we don't know if you're tricking us. So if we win, we want your head. And Loki was a little bit nervous. He didn't know what to do, but he said, okay, you create these 3 gifts for the gods, and if you win, you can have my head. They accepted and they started to work, but Loki was nervous. He didn't know what to do with this plan. So, in order to make sure that the brothers were not going to win the competition so that he could keep his head, he decided to interrupt their work. And he turned himself into a little black fly and got into their workshop and started biting and just pointing their hands and their eyes and bothering them around so that they could interrupt their work. But they were really hard workers, and they only got distracted for a second when, while doing the final gift, Loki just decided to go and stay on one of the brothers' eyes, and he had to drop the final gift and did miss the piece. But this didn't matter because the gifts were finally ready, and the day where they were supposed to present them to the gods finally arrived. The Ivaldi brothers were the first ones to present the gifts. Gift number one, of course, was Sif's golden hair. It was beautiful, it was perfect, and the goddess was really happy and pleased. Gift number two, they gave to Odin, the most powerful god. It was a spear that could pierce through anything on its path. Gift number three from the Ivaldi brothers was to Freyr. It was a piece of cloth that when you unfolded it, it turned into a huge ship. They were all really happy with their gifts, but it was the other brothers' turn. Brock and Eitri, it was their turn to present their gifts. First of all, they came to Odin and they gave him a golden ring that every 9 days it would multiply by 8. It was infinite wealth and richness and gold. Then they presented gift number two. They came to Freyr and they gave him a golden pig so that he could tie to his chariot and it would become the fastest chariot in the world. And finally, they gave the last gift to Thor, the thunder god. They gave him a hammer, MJÖLNIR, the strongest, mightiest, and most powerful weapon in all of Asgard. This hammer had three main capabilities. Capability number one, it could never be destroyed. It was unbreakable. Capability number two, it never missed a hit. And capability number three, whenever Thor threw this hammer, it would come flying back to his hand. These three things were the most amazing powers a weapon could have. And then they were discussing, they all loved the presents, and they started discussing which was the best present of them all. And finally, they came to a decision, and they decided that the best present was MJÖLNIR, the powerful hammer that they gave to Thor. This meant that the brothers Brock and Eitri were the winners of the competition, and this also meant that Brock and Eitri could have Loki's head. Loki was really nervous. He didn't want to lose his head, so he proceeded to use his deceit talents and talk to the brothers, and he told them, hey, I know that you want my head, but guess what? My head is attached to my neck. And we never talked about my neck in the negotiation. This means that you cannot touch my head. And with this weird negotiation, he actually managed to escape from this punishment. He actually managed to survive. And this is the legend of how the dwarves in a competition created and gave Thor MJÖLNIR, the most powerful hammer and the most powerful and mighty weapon in all of Asgard. So, travelers, I hope that you enjoyed this legend, and let's continue with this trip.